Wakizashi's Tea House. Please subscribe. Konnichiwa minasan, this is Wakizashi coming to you from the tea house over in Japan. How are you doing today? You good? I'm fantastic. Anyway, today I want to do a review of Spawn issue 321 from Image Comics. It was written by Todd McFarlane with art by Carlo Barberi for the main story and Thomas Nachlik on the Medieval Spawn backup story. It was released today, Wednesday, September 1st, 2021, for the very reasonable McFarlane price of $2.99. You get 20 pages of story, a stunning main cover by Bjorn Barends, plus 2 variant covers. There's also a 2-page breakdown on Medieval Spawn, which shares a bit of the character's history. This issue sees an angry and paranoid Spawn arguing with Jessica and Mark. He wants to know where and who Medieval Spawn is. After telling his 2 friends to get out, Spawn tracks down a man from his past, a man with a terrible secret in his basement. Then he gets really angry. The second story reveals more about the character of Medieval Spawn. So, what did I think of Spawn issue 321? After the almost non-stop action of the previous issue, this one was a bit of a disappointment, to be honest. There's a lot of talking in this issue, and I mean a lot, and very little action. To be honest, it felt like a filler issue. Now, I don't mind the quieter issues as long as the story's good. There isn't much story here, especially in the first main story, but Carlo Barberi's art is still very, very good. This time I noticed a kind of manga anime style to the characters, especially in the faces. Barberi's Spawn always looks dope, that's guaranteed. Plus, he makes Jessica look like a woman. A woman with curves. Remember curves? Paging Marvel Comics, hello? Female curves? Anyway, in the second story we discover a major connection between Mark Rosen and Medieval Spawn, and it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here. Thomas Nachlik draws this backup story, and his art is also very good. I like his version of Medieval Spawn, plus some of the angles he chose in the panels where he depicts Mark, just walking through the rooms. They're really good, it's kind of different. So, is Spawn 321 a recommend? Well, unless you're buying it for the art, I can't really recommend it. I think you can skip this issue. As I already said, I was kind of disappointed with it, especially after the action-packed previous issue and the recent debut of the fantastic King Spawn issue 1. If you haven't checked that out, please check it out, it's brilliant. Okay, that's it for my review, so on to the main story. Here we go. The story opens somewhere unknown. Spawn is having a meeting with Jessica and Mark, and he's got one question on his mind. Where's Medieval Spawn? What? It's a simple question, where is he? You're kidding, right? That's what you called us here for? So Spawn wants to know where Medieval Spawn is, and Jessica and Mark say they don't know. It's been more like 5 hours since the sensor controls detected him. Meaning what? Meaning where the hell is he? What's up with Spawn? Why does he want to find Medieval Spawn so much? And how good does Jessica look here? Okay, next page. So what is your point, Mark? Please tell him he's not making sense right now, and I'm starting to get angry. Oh, I don't have an opinion either way, says Mark. Chicken shit. Just tell us what you'd like us to do. And here comes the talk. Look at this. So Spawn says, I want to know, who is Medieval Spawn anyway? Why'd he come to my rescue on Omega Island? How do you even know I was there to begin with? Remember, he tried to kill me just before that. I don't know who he is, what his motivations are, or whose side he's even on. But that's not all. And then Jessica gets angry. She's saying, he saved your life on the island. What are you talking about? And Spawn's getting more angry. None of this happened before any of you came here, and I'm not willing to compromise my security any longer. So I need you to leave. Both of you. I need you out of here. You've become liabilities. Liabilities? Of course, Jessica and Mark are shocked, and they start to argue with Spawn. There's a great panel here. Look at him. He looks terrifying. You're right. I don't care about your family. I care about surviving. About living long enough to wipe out the scum who killed my wife. The same enemies that killed Susan. With that, Spawn spins and walks away, shaking the floor. In another room, Spawn pores over files he's gathered recently from a few enemy factions. For him, there remains 2 large pieces that are still missing. the first. How many beings fell into the time paradox rip and were pulled here to Earth, some of whom are spawns themselves? The second piece is finding those from heaven and hell that were already here. Mark asks, "You know what's eating him?" And Jessica says she's got no clue, but we need him alive, at least until we've had the chance to build our own army to fight this war. He's getting worse. From Spawn's perspective, he isn't getting worse, he's getting more realistic, as he sees the forces of heaven and hell beginning to become more brazen and more public with their actions. Where once the shadow players wanted no part of revealing themselves in public to human eyes, some have now become cocky or careless in how they interact with humanity. Spawn is watching someone from the rooftops. He sees him get into his car and drive off. Spawn follows. There's an old shack in the woods, and a drunken man sat asleep in the chair. "Wake up, Paul." Whoa, must have dozed off. Slam. A clawed hand beginning to crush his larynx confirms it. Bark! I'm going to ask some questions and you're going to answer. As dogs bark in the background, Spawn quickly dominates Paul. He knows who he once worked for. And he knows what he's afraid of. Get him off! Get him off me! I want your files, Paul. Where'd you hide them? My files? Yes, I found a few on my own. It's how I found you, but I know there's more, lots more. What did you do with yours? A noise in the background, and suddenly, attack now! From behind, 2 savage dogs do exactly that. You're sending dogs? That's your play? I'm tired of fighting enemies that haven't done their homework. I don't fear your pets, because I control them like I can control you. Spawn gets rid of the dogs, and he goes to investigate down in the basement and finds something quite terrifying, an unimaginable horror. But first, he needs to make sure his instincts are right, that it isn't a trap. Please, I beg you, don't touch her, please. This poor woman has been trapped by the guy in the basement. It says she's been there for a few years and she's had a daughter. I'm so sorry, says Spawn. Reeling, his contact with the girl is broken, but as he tries to refocus himself, Al sees something move in the shadows. Wanda, his ex-wife, the only true love of his life. Yet all he can think is, if men and immortals can do something like this to a young woman, they could have done it to Wanda. His blood begins to seethe. Spawn gets angrier and angrier. He begins to think he might be losing his mind. He's losing control. The louder he screams, the darker it gets. First it's the basement, then the house, and eventually it's the entire county, stripped of all manner of light. And though some will try, no flashlights or generators will work, and scariest of all, no one will even be able to light a fire. The blackness is upon them. And that's where the issue ends, while the first story ends. Still stewing from their prior conversation, Mark Rosen distracts himself the only way he knows how, by occupying his brain as much as he can. Though he's just been told to pack his things and leave, he can't help himself. He continues searching for clues on the global whereabouts of any hell spawns. It's how he knew Omega Spawn had returned, and how Jessica was able to hunt down the Gunslinger Spawn. On top of that, he's also been analysing info gleaned from the files Spawn has been dropping on his lap the last few weeks. Apparently none of that work seems to matter. What are you doing? What's it look like I'm doing? I'm working, though you've made it perfectly clear just how little value there is in that. Oh, grow up, says Spawn. You wanted to be here. I've had enough, says Mark. I quit. Back in his room, he begins packing his possessions, wondering what it'll be. What it'll be like to live a normal life again, where that's even possible. And halfway through, he comes across something that shouldn't be there. What the heck? You're a big reason we're getting booted out of here, says Mark. He takes the helmet into the lab. Can't say I'm going to miss any of this. And he goes back to his room. Yet, what awaits him on his return stops him cold. No way. How's this happening? The moment he touches it again, Mark Rosen ceases to exist. In his place is the persona of the man that can animate both the armour and the power of medieval Spawn. Minutes pass. Then, feeling guilty, Spawn comes to apologise to Mark. But he's not there. Mark? And then we get a 2-page breakdown. A bit of the secret history of medieval Spawn. It says here, Sir John of York, a knight to King Henry II, was slain and sent to hell. After a bargain with Malebolgia, he is returned to earth in the demon's service as a hell-spawn knight. Desperate to redeem his soul, he attempts to protect the innocent, defend the sacred and rise to nobility once again. But people and events from far in his future intercede and he is transported to the present, where the Vatican holds him captive. He is tortured and programmed and eventually turned into a twisted weapon of light. While on a holy mission for the Vatican, he is slain by Spawn, his third death. But somehow his spirit has survived and taken on a new host. But is he the same medieval Spawn or something else? And that's where we'll leave it. Okay, that's it for my review. Before I finish, let me show you some of the variant covers. There's the first one here is by Todd McFarlane, looking very cool. Okay, and the next one is by, Francesco Mattina. This is awesome, look at that, very moody. And I want to finish with the next issue's cover. So I said this issue was a bit quiet, wasn't much action, but look at this cover for the next issue, 322. That looks awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll be picking it up, and I'll be picking up King Spawn issue 2 when that comes out. Okay, so thanks again for watching. This is Wakizashi signing off. See you in the next video. Matane. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Wakizashi's Tea House. Please subscribe.